I'm here in Chase Place. Bye now. Yeah! Good job.
Tonight is lockdown looming, Adelaide's devastating coronavirus blow.
It looks like we're in the beginning or early part of what could be a second wave.
Restrictions from midnight amid desperate efforts to control the cluster.
This is a wake-up call for us that COVID-19 has not gone away.
How the surge in cases will change our lives ahead of Christmas. Plus a tidal wave of testing, Adelaide's overwhelming response, but could signs of panic buying cast an unwanted shadow? Deep cleaning at 2 northern suburbs schools and confusion at our airport, travel plans for thousands up in the air.
Live from Adelaide, 7 News with Jane Doyle.
Good evening. Tough new coronavirus restrictions will come into effect at midnight tonight as authorities try to get on top of what they're describing as a potential second wave. In a dramatic day, 17 cases have been linked to the Parafield cluster. A health alert has been issued for more than a dozen public places, including buses, schools and health facilities. Thousands have flocked to clinics to be tested, and there's chaos at the airport as most states move to lock out travellers from SA. We have Adelaide's most experienced news team all over Adelaide tonight to bring you the latest. First, let's go live to Mike Smithson, and private gatherings are again limited to 10 people, Mike.
Yes, Jane, this is probably the most significant of the restrictions announced today. You'll only be allowed 10 people per residence. All community sport, competition and training has been cancelled. Gyms and recreation facilities such as play cafes are closed for 2 weeks. Private gatherings at licensed venues are capped at 50 and you must be seated when drinking. Funerals are also capped at 50 people. No change to wedding numbers, but all guests must be registered. Masks are mandatory for beauticians and hairdressers as we desperately fight this COVID cluster.
It looks like we're in the beginning or early part of what could be a second wave.
The next 24 hours will be critical, but we are not going to wait for the situation to deteriorate.
This is a wake-up call for us that COVID-19 has not gone away. As much as we might feel frustrated by these ongoing restrictions, they are there for a reason, and people need to start thinking about how they can do a little bit more to keep on top of things.
At this stage, schools will remain open, but the advice is stay at home and work from home if you can. So it sounds a bit like Back to the Future. Jane.
Thanks, Mike. The Parafield cluster, which began with a cleaner at a Medi hotel in the city, has now spiralled to 17 cases. 15 members of one family are among those who've tested positive, and the race is now on to contain the spread.
We were warned this day might come, and it has, with a vengeance. A 215-day streak, yesterday broken, today smashed. This is a COVID cluster unlike SA's ever seen.
What we are facing is indeed a second wave.
3 cases this time last night, this morning 17.
It's fair to say that we are now facing our biggest test to date, but we can and we must rise to this new challenge.
This is what we know. A breach at the Peppers Medi Hotel on Weymouth Street infected 3 staff. One of them then spread it to their partner and mother, aged in her 80s. Another 12 members of their family now have the virus too.
We have 3 people that work in a Medi hotel. We've got one person that's employed by the hotel and works back of house, and then there are 2 security guards.
The family's tentacles in the community are deeply troubling. Many attend or are employed at highly sensitive workplaces. We haven't seen pictures like these since April. Thomas More College at Salisbury Downs shut down and undergoing a deep clean. One of their Year 8 students has tested positive. 900 children attend the school.
Got a call, so I have to come in and pick up my son, so it's a bit scary.
I knew Morton Lakes Primary School was closed. I didn't realise Thomas More College was closed.
And he's right. Mawson Lakes Primary is shut too. A child there is also infected. The list of closures is growing fast. Parafield Gardens supermarket remains shut today, and an aged care facility. Not 1 but 2 of their staff members were working while contagious. Then there's the Hungry Jacks at Port Adelaide. One of the infected family members is an employee.
I had breakfast here yesterday morning, so yeah, we go tested.
Another is a guard at Yatala. The prison's now in lockdown. Delivery driver Bill Green says his van was turned away.
They just said you're not allowed in the jail. Just drop at reception.
What's it like in there?
Just quiet as. Nothing.
No one around?
Nothing's going. No one's going in, no one's coming out.
Hospitals and aged care homes have acted swiftly, including Calvary, Burnside and Ashford, where most visitors are banned. Then there's the impact on our police force. 96 officers are tonight in quarantine.
Obviously that has an impact on us as well. This is a wake-up call for us that COVID-19 has not gone away.
A wake-up call indeed. Last week, 7 News asked the Premier whether South Australia was taking on too much with its hotel quarantine program. At the time, we had 19 active cases, more than a quarter of the entire country. This was his response.
Yeah, look, we're not concerned about the infections within the quarantine hotel because they are very, very secure. The important thing, though, is unlike other parts of the country, we've had very, very strict controls over our hotel quarantine, so no risk to the people of our state.
What a difference a week can make.
Our initial review of this, it's clearly from a Medi hotel.
We'll throw absolutely everything at this to get on top of the cluster.
Incoming international flights have been banned, but only time will tell if we're too late. Elspeth Hussey, 7 News.
And Elle joins us live from the Victoria Park Testing Clinic. Elle, people are tonight being turned away there.
They are, Jane. If there was any doubt about just how seriously South Australians are taking this cluster, you only have to look at the turnout at our clinics in the city and across the suburbs. They are absolutely overrun and turning people away. People who are rocking up to Victoria Park now are being told they will not be seen tonight. We have seen lines and queues in the suburbs snaking for hundreds of metres and people waiting several hours. In fact, the demand has been so high, this clinic and those at Elizabeth, McGill and Parafield will stay open until 8 o'clock tonight. Many of those we've spoken to say they're anxious about this second wave and they don't want to leave anything to chance.
Given what happened in Victoria, it only takes one case to get out of control quickly, and yeah, look what happens, here we are.
No symptoms, no. Just family friend works with someone that had a case, so thought I'd just check up and make sure everything's all right.
I'm just here to do the right thing by my family and work colleagues.
This is one reason why people are being tested. The list of public places attended by those confirmed cases is significant and it's growing. It includes shopping centres, fast food outlets, supermarkets, a whole range of businesses, most to the north of the city, and there are several bus routes in question, again, mostly in the north around the Salisbury area. Now, the testing numbers from yesterday have just been released. 1,873 swabs, relatively small given the threat we know we are facing, but we are being told to prepare for that number to spike dramatically by this time tomorrow. Back to you, Jane.
Thanks, Elle. South Australia is tonight the isolation state, cut off from more than half the country. As authorities interstate raced to close their borders, there were dramatic scenes at the airport where anxious travellers tried desperately to beat the clock.
Chaos at Adelaide Airport.
Can I get through?
The race to get out before they're shut out.
I am getting nervous now, yeah.
We went to bed with 4 positive cases, woke up to 17.
Passengers bound for Brisbane knew the border could close at any moment.
Getting a call just as I left the hotel to find out that I may or may not get back home.
I am prepared for any bad news that does come.
Minutes before boarding, it did. Confirmation they'd be ordered straight into self-isolation on arrival, and from midnight, a 2-week stint in hotel quarantine.
Makes me a bit anxious and not really understanding what's going to happen today when I get home.
For some, a last-minute reprieve.
Do wish to offload yourself from service due to the important information. You can come in and see us at gate 22.
About a dozen passengers abandoning their flight.
I don't want to get caught in quarantine.
Staying put in Adelaide.
Amazing how quickly it's flared up, hasn't it? Takes your breath away.
Heartbreak for new grandma Robin Stecker. She was about to meet her grandson for the first time.
You think, oh look, what if I'd gone? If I'd gone yesterday? You know, it's all those what ifs.
Bad news too for those heading to the Northern Territory, which declared SA a COVID hotspot.
Yeah, I have no idea. My partner's actually from Ballarat, so she just was allowed to come back to the NT. Haven't seen her for 6 months.
WA was the first to jump last night, closing its border while one flight was mid-air. 150 passengers told to turn around or go straight into isolation.
Going into quarantine.
And how do you feel about that?
Oh, it's a pity.
My mum's only come for 2 weeks to sort of see Dylan and then shoot back before Christmas, so she has to quarantine for 2 weeks. It's going to be pretty difficult.
The Premier there is considering reinstating a hard border.
Please do not come to WA at this point if you don't absolutely have to. The situation is just too risky right now.
Tasmania's border became the fourth to slam shut. New South Wales, the ACT and Victoria remain open for now, but anyone travelling to Melbourne will be grilled on arrival.
When a person arrives at the airport, there'll be a sit down with them, symptoms, have you been to any specific locations?
How the tables have turned. For so long the envy of the nation, South Australia suddenly finds itself virtually cut off. Mark Mooney, 7 News.
And we're joined now by Mark at the airport. International arrivals are now banned from entering SA, Mark.
Yeah, they are, Jane. Late this afternoon, the Premier announced that all international flights into Adelaide are being suspended until the end of the week at least. That, of course, includes those repatriation flights which have been helping stranded South Australians get home. One from Doha was due to arrive this afternoon. That was cancelled, along with another from Singapore tomorrow and a third flight from Doha on Wednesday. The last thing authorities here want is more infected travellers arriving here and placing extra pressure on our Medi hotels, Jane.
Thanks, Mark. The cluster has caused panic at one of our major hospitals and plunged nursing homes into lockdown. Rosanna Mangiarelli's at the Lyle McEwen, and Rosa, the emergency department there lost a third of its staff after a positive case.
Yes, Jane, this is where the woman in her 80s came to get tested on Friday. And since then, 90 staff members, even some patients, were ordered into quarantine. All have now been tested. 13 staff members, though, who were in direct contact with the infected woman, are still in isolation. Important to note, they have no symptoms. But an Anglicare SA nursing home at Brompton is in lockdown tonight after 2 staff members returned positive tests. They're a daughter and granddaughter of the woman in her 80s. Both are enrolled nurses now in a Medi hotel.
The 2 staff members concerned worked the night shift on Thursday night and the other one worked the morning shift on Friday morning, and they were diagnosed late yesterday.
So Anglicare says at this stage no other staff or residents are symptomatic and they're all undergoing COVID tests, but for now visitors to the Brompton home have been banned. These are self-imposed restrictions. The advice from SA Health is 2 visitors are allowed per day in nursing homes, but masks are mandatory. Some private hospitals have gone a step further. The Calvary isn't allowing any visitors at its sites, including a retirement home at Cowandilla. Burnside and Ashford hospitals have slapped similar bans on visitors as well. So, Jane, a tough time for many patients and nursing home residents right across the city, but it seems many just don't want to take any chances. Back to you.
Thanks, Rosanna. The rapidly moving situation has cast doubt over our ability to host the first test of the summer of cricket. Tim Yateman's at Adelaide Oval. Tim, what are you hearing?
Well, Jane, we're hearing from Cricket Australia bosses that they've been locked in meetings all afternoon as they try to navigate this very, very tricky situation. They have told me, though, that at this stage it is planned that the match will begin as scheduled on Friday, December 17, despite this latest setback. A capped crowd of 27,000 fans at this stage will still be allowed in, but after this outbreak, that must now be in serious doubt, and that would be a huge blow. It was set to be a blockbuster match, the first day-night test between Australia and India, and Virat Kohli's only test on Australian soil. But all hope is not lost. In some good news, the Premier is remaining optimistic.
Well, the cricket is still some time down the track, and we'll deal with this as quickly as we possibly can. If we act decisively and quickly, we get in front of this, I'm hopeful that we can get this resolved in the coming weeks.
Now, this comes just hours after an announcement from Tennis Australia that January's Adelaide International has been scrapped. Instead, the tournament will be played in Melbourne. Jane, set to be a very, very busy couple of weeks for sporting bodies here in South Australia. Back to you.
Thanks, Tim. Shoppers are reacting to the latest cluster, stocking up on essentials. Casey Trelaw's at Costco at Kilburn. And Casey, there have been calls from authorities for calm.
There is, Jane. We've seen it before and it's happening again. South Australians are in panic buying mode. Now, here at Costco, the toilet paper aisle has been stripped bare. We understand Costco went through 15 pallets of toilet paper in about 3 hours, and that's despite a limit of 1 packet per customer.
Yes, no toilet paper left, hardly any hand towel left. Everyone's obviously very scared at the moment.
And yeah, lo and behold, there's no toilet paper left. We saw it disappear in front of our eyes.
We just went to Costco just to look at it, and then found out there was nothing, and then there's one left here. So we're like, okay, might as well grab it, Mum.
There are similar scenes at other supermarkets across Adelaide. Now, the Retailers Association has just told me the grocery stores across the state are extremely well stocked, so there is absolutely no reason for stockpiling. It's calling this latest stunt from shoppers as total madness. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Now, 400,000 Australians who fell victim to the government's robo-debt scheme will receive compensation from the biggest class action in history. Canberra's scheme to claw back overpayments has been deemed unlawful, and there are now calls for a royal commission.
2 hours after receiving his robo-debt, Kathleen Madgwick's son Jared took his own life.
Nothing can compensate for that, and nothing ever will.
For her, it's about accountability, not money.
I feel like the government settling out of court is a way they're not being held accountable for the actual damage they've done. Under
that settlement, the government's agreeing to pay an additional $112 million compensation to 400,000 people, having already repaid $720 million in debts and dropped almost $400 million in outstanding claims, a total of $1.2 billion.
This will be the largest payment of a financial benefit to the largest group of victims of a class action in Australian legal history.
How much each individual gets from today's decision will be assessed in coming months and paid next year.
I think no money amount will ever compensate people for the hardship they've been through.
The robo-debt scheme used income averaging data from the tax office to automatically generate debts, incorrectly claiming that people had been overpaid by Centrelink.
We have corrected that, and we've been paying the money back.
Centrelink's debt recovery process resumed 2 weeks ago, but this time with more human oversight.
They put the legal dogs on these people, and it turns out it was illegal.
The Commonwealth has not accepted or admitted any liability in the matter.
But is now paying the price. Mark Riley, 7 News.
Now it's time to check with Soda on what's coming up in sport.
Jane, as we saw earlier, the summer of cricket here in Adelaide is up in the air at the moment. We'll have more on that. Plus, Crows great Andrew McLeod, one of their all-time superstars, on the outer at West Lakes as one of the club's on-field leaders turns his hand to coaching. And Aussie Cameron Smith creates history at Augusta. He was magnificent, but it wasn't quite enough to steal the Masters from world #1 Dustin Johnson. All that and plenty more coming up in Sports Scene.
Thanks very much, Soda. Ahead on 7 News, jail for an Adelaide war veteran who defied police in a violent standoff. Violence in Washington as Donald Trump doubles down on his refusal to concede defeat. More history for SpaceX, a privately owned rocket heading to the International Space Station. And later, switching on to savings, the small device that can slash your power bills.
7 News brought to you by Industry Super Funds.
Pretty soon the amount of super paid on top of our wages will go up. And up. And up. And up. All the way to 12% guaranteed. That extra money will make a big difference when I retire, put my feet up. You see, your future is even more super.
She betrayed her best friend.
It doesn't change what I did.
I killed Ross.
What she's about to do could ruin his life.
This witness is key. I need to find out who they are.
Does this witness person know that they can tear a family apart?
She can't keep it a secret forever.
The prosecution calls.
Home and Away, tonight at 7.
The state government's record infrastructure investment is creating more jobs, building affordable housing to help people into home ownership and improving public housing for our most vulnerable. We're building what matters. Authorised by the Government of South Australia, Adelaide.
Look around. As the favourites come out, it begins. Observing with an eagle eye. Mastering the art of stashing. Oh, brilliant Irv Grant. Cadbury favourites. Everyone gets their favourites.
It doesn't take much to enjoy the perfect night in. A little effort from you and a Ristorante pizza. Dr. Oetker Ristorante. Pizzeria taste, surprisingly, from your freezer.
When you don't want to leave your car, choose Domino's new car park delivery for no extra charge. Try it with a barbecue meat lovers from $4.95 on the Domino's app. Bring it in.
Perfect Italiano is perfect for that. Perfect Italiano is perfect for that. And Perfect Italiano is perfect for that, and that. Not so good for that. But for a delicious meal every time, Perfect Italiano is perfect for that.
Hello. Ooh, carrots.
We grow them for Woolies.
Oh.
Oh, would the guys like some?
No.
It's Christmas.
If you insist. And one more for you. Oh. Let's go. Hey, up. Be good. Sharing the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
An Afghanistan war veteran's been jailed over a terrifying and potentially deadly standoff with police in the southern suburbs. It happened with 2 young children nearby.
A routine inquiry about burnouts that very quickly turned ugly. Matthew Christier, former soldier and father of 2 children who were inside the house when this violent standoff unfolded. As police body-worn cameras captured an increasingly agitated Christier, officers were forced to retreat, put on bulletproof vests and draw their weapons when he emerged with a bow and arrow. This happened at Ranella East in 2018.
This is taser! This is a taser! You put it down now!
He refused to surrender. Instead, he turned on them with an imitation Uzi machine gun. Christier was eventually arrested after trying to escape over a back fence. The sentencing judge said police were faced with a volatile, unknown and unpredictable situation, and it was too serious to warrant suspending the 2-year jail term. The court heard Christier was an army veteran who'd served 2 tours in Afghanistan and may have suffered from a psychotic episode at the time. Deanna Williams, 7 News.
The high-profile NCA bombing trial is in limbo because of the second wave of COVID-19. Suspect Dominic Perry's in Yatala, which has been placed in lockdown after a prison guard there tested positive. There have been no court appearances today for anyone from Yatala and only video link hearings from Mobilong and the Adelaide Remand Centre. 12 days on from America's election, it's looking likely Donald Trump will leave the White House without ever conceding defeat. Although offering a hint of concession early today, the outgoing president later doubled down on his refusal as protesters clashed in the Capitol.
Washington on edge. Trump's supporters and opponents clash near police barriers around the White House as the president heads to play golf. Earlier, he'd appeared to finally accept Democrat Joe Biden's victory 8 days ago. He won, because the election was rigged. No vote watchers or observers allowed.
Is the president right now in this tweet conceding this election?
No, far from it. What he's saying is more, I guess you'd call it sarcastic.
Sure enough, a clarifying tweet. Joe Biden only won in the eyes of the fake news media. I concede nothing.
When your time is up, then it is your job to put the country first and think beyond your own ego.
And this Republican agrees. Donald Trump's old national security advisor has slammed party colleagues who've backed the president's effort to overturn the vote.
But he won't leave graciously, and he'll do a lot of damage in the meantime.
Prompting this. John Bolton was one of the dumbest people in government, a real dope. The White House transition remains stalled as the country's third wave of coronavirus roars to record levels. And yet the most prominent virus advisor here says President Trump has not been involved.
The last time the president was physically at a task force meeting was several months ago.
Joe Biden appeared at church today. The president-elect's inauguration is still 9.5 weeks away. In Washington, Tim Lester, 7 News.
SpaceX has launched its first operational crew mission, sending 4 NASA astronauts to the International Space Station after a perfect liftoff from Cape Canaveral.
Ignition, liftoff.
1 Alpha.
Roger, 1 Alpha. Godspeed, resilience.
Only days ago, the Dragon capsule became the first privately owned and operated spacecraft certified for human spaceflight. Its rocket booster successfully returned to Earth, landing on a ship at sea and leaving the crew to continue their 6-month mission. Back home now, and after yesterday's topsy-turvy weather, we've got some stable conditions ahead. Amelia.
Jane, we've enjoyed some sunshine and cooler conditions after yesterday's scorcher, which saw Oodnadatta hit a top of 47.4 degrees. It was 38.1 in the city before a gusty southwesterly change pushed that hot air further east. We will start to warm up again this week, though. Tomorrow's looking about average. We'll see a top temperature a fraction higher than what we usually expect in November, around 24 degrees. Overnight, we generally look at a minimum of 13. It'll be a little cooler than that tonight, though. But despite yesterday's change, we haven't seen much in the way of rain. We've only had around 7 millimetres in the West Terrace gauge. By the end of the month, we'd like 30. So we've got a way to go. We could possibly score a couple of millimetres this coming weekend, though. We'll have more in the full forecast later. Jane.
Thanks, Amelia. Still to come on 7 News, the small device that can slash your power bills. How to get one for free. Race rethink. 2 famous Aussie lollies get a name change. Flying through turbulence on its 100th birthday, Qantas vows to power up. And later, shopping danger, the budgeting apps that could trap you in debt.
Through trust, we hold each other's lives in our hands.
There's some of you here are questionable.
On the end of that rope is your partner. You have control of their life.
I don't trust many people.
I won't be doing this ever again.
Go, let go.
People let you down.
Lean back! Go!
You're going to tell us something that you're ashamed of.
My father was dying of cancer, and I made the wrong decision.
I got myself in a compromising position.
We'll expose the darkest part of them on SAS Australia.
Tonight, 7:30 on 7.
Introducing Solid Gold Diamonds' signature engagement ring collection. Each ring is 100% Australian designed and handcrafted to suit your budget in our own studio workshop by our team of 17 master jewelers. You can choose from rare argyle, pink, white or champagne diamonds, each fully certified and with a lifetime quality guarantee. For your special moment, the only choice is Solid Gold Diamonds.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of easy desserts with a Coles Classic Pavlova. Down to just $6. Save $2. Perfect with Coles Aussie Thickened Cream. Just $3. Coles. Value the Australian way.
It's Black November at Nick Scali. We must clear our floor stock and discontinued lines. Up to 30, 40, and 50% off. Our floor stock must go. Limited stock, limited time. Black November at all Nick Scali stores. Hurry.
If you're looking to buy a property, stop tapping on walls and get a free ANZ Property Profile Report so you'll know how much a property could sell for. Get on top of property buying with ANZ Buy Ready.
Once there was a huge
Your kids never stop surprising you. Give some surprise back. Discover the new toys of Dino Dash and Fairy Friends. Kinder Surprise. Life is made of surprise.
What's a nice car like that doing in a place like this? Came in for a sandwich. No parts. She reckons the dealer's got her covered. Not even a quick tune-up. Says she has a cap price service plan. What about a spare? Reckons she's got roadside assist. Would you show her the sign? Yes. Well, what'd she say? She said, I'm in.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of easy entertaining with delicious new Coles Margarita Pizza Bites and Crumb Camembert Wedges, both just $5 a pack. In the oven, then ready to serve. Coles, value the Australian way.
Share market deals worth billions of dollars have been halted by a major computer meltdown on the Australian Stock Exchange. The outage struck just 24 minutes into the morning session and continued for the rest of the day. Before the shutdown, the market had risen to a 9-month high. The ASX has blamed data issues and it's hoped trade can be restored tomorrow. South Australians are slashing their electricity bills by cashing in on renewable energy. A new device is allowing households to only pay for power when it's cheapest, and it's saving them hundreds of dollars.
It's the tiny device that could save you big bucks.
Straight up, we would have, from making the switch, we would have saved 30% on what we were paying before, which is huge money for us.
Glenelg East's Heidi and Tim Johns are among hundreds of South Aussies signing up to get their hands on the new Smart Shift device. When used with a real-time price plan, like that offered by new player Amber Energy, it saves you money by automatically turning appliances on when prices are at their lowest.
For us, at the moment, it's probably will be an annual saving of $200 a year for just running of the pool.
Amber's power plans allow users to cash in on solar even if they don't have panels. It means when there's more renewable energy in the grid, costs drop. Prices are updated every 30 minutes and users can keep track in the palm of their hand.
The traditional electricity retail model is really broken in a world powered by renewables. It doesn't give customers direct access to that real-time wholesale price, so they can benefit by using that cheaper renewable power when it's available.
Which is great when you're sort of thinking, might need to put something in the dryer or something like that, so you can go, okay, well, it's cheap at the moment, so we'll use it now.
The Smart Shift devices can be used for power sapping appliances, such as hot water systems, pool pumps and home batteries.
It's easy and you'll be saving money, so who doesn't want to do that?
A subscription to Amber Energy will set you back $15 a month. Rosie Barnett, 7 News.
Two of Australia's most famous lollies are getting new names. Redskins will be known as Red Rippers and Chickos as Cheekies. The changes are designed to remove racial overtones from the brands. The newly branded confectionery will hit shelves early next year. Qantas is celebrating its 100th birthday in its most turbulent year yet. Airline chiefs are confident the flying kangaroo has the spirit to overcome everything 2020 has thrown at it.
Happy birthday, Qantas!
100 years old, the airline that became an icon. They almost invented long-haul travel, but today we're celebrating with the most short-haul of flights on this 100 minutes with 100 pilots and staff, and Tom Sample, turning 100 today.
It's an amazing experience for me. Of course, the first time I've ever been 100 before.
Tom remembers his first flight when the windows on planes could open.
The pilot was continually opening the window, let the fresh air in, and I was freezing.
It began 1920, outback Queensland.
Only 17 years after the Wright brothers flew the first aircraft.
Running flying boats in the 30s to Singapore out of Sydney Harbour, the country's first international airport. The first passenger jets outside the US. Qantas invented business class and rescue slides. Just last year, ran the longest commercial flights in the world, non-stop from New York and London.
All those decades spent conquering time and distance, setting records. But this year, of course, Qantas has been struggling to even make it as far as a state border. COVID has turned the airline's 100th year into its most difficult of all.
Thousands stood down, most of the fleet grounded, and fears for another 2,500 ground staff today.
This is an historical day for Qantas. They could turn around and not ditch 2,500 workers without a parachute and give them their jobs back.
I mean, it's easy for a lot of the unions to criticise what's going on. This has been really tough to try and get the company through this period of time.
He notes Qantas was born after the last great global pandemic, Spanish flu, just as determined to set course off COVID for the next 100-year journey. Chris Reason, 7 News.
Still to come on 7 News, we'll cross live for the latest on Adelaide's COVID cluster and the restrictions we all need to follow. Delta Goodrum forced to face questions from her accused stalker in court. Royal reaction why the future king is furious over a hit TV series. And it's all downhill from here, the remarkable sight of a landscape on the move.
When it comes to winning here, their approaches couldn't be more extreme.
Very, very happy.
It's happy.
Happy days.
Versus hungry.
Catch me if you can.
But who will have the last laugh?
Which Muppet is an inept stand-up comic?
New The Chase, weekdays at 5 on 7.
Get your Woolies worth and prepare for Christmas with prices dropped on 140 more products. Like Chris's Heritage Vintage Dips, 170 grams, now just $7 each. Helping your money go further this Christmas at Woolworths. After a long, hot day, there's only one thing you want: the comfort of home. The home of just chillin'. Gasworks have everything to make your home cool and comfortable this summer. Gasworks, the home of comfort.
This Christmas, we're donating 1 million Bonds gifts to Aussies in need. It's so easy to help, you can do it in your undies. Simply write a message here, and it'll go on a gift there.
Sorry.
Or share the love here for a little love there.
Heart emoji, hug, snowman.
You can even write your message in store. So come on, Australia. Join Bonds to give a little, help 1 million today.
Why don't you come, why don't you come? Pleasure's all mine, never getting old. If you're looking for me, I'll be dancing in my own way.
Get into the Good Guys for big brands in cooking, like $200 off this Asco dishwasher, this Chef Cooker $549, and these Salt gas or electric cooking packages plus your choice of range hood $698 each. All the big brands in cooking at the Good Guys.
Country is a family business, making it right here in SA. So let's make it modern. Let's make it automated.
Let's make it for you.
Country goes everywhere. So call today for a free measure and quote.
Everybody loves their country.
Cars have tyres. People have teenagers.
I think that was the car.
Get a free tyre care plan on selected tyres at our 260 stores nationwide.
How's that?
You nailed it.
My Car, Tyre and Auto. People first.
Returning to the day's top story now, and health authorities say South Australia is on the cusp of a second wave of coronavirus. Live to Mike Smithson, new restrictions come into effect at midnight. Mike.
Yes, Jane, health authorities say this is crucial if we're going to get on top of this problem, which is so far linked to 17 new cases, mainly north of the city. As of midnight, homes will be restricted to just 10 people. Licensed venues will be capped at 100 and there will be no stand-up drinking, even outside. All community sport has been cancelled, including gyms. Funerals will be restricted to 50 people. Masks will be mandatory for all beauty therapies and all South Australians are being encouraged to work from home where possible. The Premier says the measures will be in place for at least the next 2 weeks while authorities try to get on top of this outbreak.
I want to assure all South Australians that we are working around the clock to stay ahead of this cluster. No effort will be spared to slow and stop the spread of the Parafield cluster.
Some testing stations across Adelaide are turning people away tonight. They've been overrun with lines snaking for hundreds of metres. So tomorrow is another crunch day with those results. And believe me, authorities are watching very anxiously tonight. Back to you, Jane.
Thanks, Mike. A man convicted of stalking singer Delta Goodrem has now been accused of breaching an apprehended violence order by sending messages to her. The star appeared in court today via video link, facing questions from the 48-year-old after he was allowed to cross-examine her himself.
A defiant Delta Goodrem face to face with the man convicted of stalking her.
I didn't tell the police anything. All I told them was I wrote her poems.
James Lafferty found guilty in February of relentlessly pursuing Miss Goodrem, sending 300 messages and appearing outside her Sydney apartment multiple times. Today, he was back in court, accused of continuing to contact the singer even after being served an apprehended violence order. You had been told to move on from outside my apartment, Miss Goodrem told the court via video link. When I came back from work, you were still there. The AVO was to protect myself. Lafferty directly cross-examined Miss Goodrem. Did I ever threaten to hurt you, he asked. There has definitely been two different sides from you. That's been stressful for me.
Usually someone convicted of a crime would never be able to cross-examine their victim, but in this case, James Lafferty didn't have a lawyer and was representing himself, something victims' advocates say should never take place in court.
This anomaly means that victims are being re-traumatised.
The magistrate today finding Lafferty wasn't aware of the AVO. He's vowed never to contact Miss Goodrem or her friends again. Samantha Brett, 7 News.
Buy now and pay later apps have become a dangerous trap for a growing number of Australian shoppers, and investigations revealed many are forced to miss meals to pay their bills. More on those findings and advice on avoiding the pitfalls coming up soon on 7 News. There's backlash from friends of Prince Charles about the portrayal of explosive fights with Princess Diana in the latest season of the TV series The Crown. This comes as the Prince of Wales embarked on a historic diplomatic mission to Germany.
Decades after the end of hostilities, another step forward. The future king and the German president together laying wreaths at Berlin's War Memorial. Charles and Camilla are the first British royals to visit, marking the armistice, what Germany considers a national day of mourning. Clarence House saying it was an event to pay tribute to the Allied effort to liberate Germany, before the Prince of Wales delivered a message to a sparsely populated German parliament.
We have long viewed each other with fascination, admiring of each other's culture.
Then speaking in German, a clear message of soft diplomacy as Brexit negotiations reach a tumultuous climax.
Daher bin ich der Festen.
I am convinced the central bonds between us will remain strong, he said. All on the same weekend, the world watched his relationship fall apart.
No, thanks to you, people are laughing in my face.
Charles's friends telling British newspapers the portrayal of his marriage to Diana in the latest season of The Crown is inaccurate and cruel in its false depictions, labelling it trolling on a Hollywood budget, raising questions about the Sussexes' multi-million-dollar deal with Netflix. In London, Hugh Whitfield, 7 News.
Entire trees have been seen sliding away, the result of a peat slippage near the Irish border. Startling video shows a section of the landscape moving slowly but surely down a hillside. The cause of the slip is yet to be found. There were no reports of injuries, but the extent of the damage remains unclear.
Ooh.
Time for sport. It's pretty remarkable,
Looks
isn't it?
a bit freaky, doesn't it?
It is, yeah. Those peat bogs are difficult places sometimes. Now, the Shield cricket here in Adelaide has caused some issues for our Aussie cricketers.
Certainly has, Jane. Obviously, implications with COVID is a bit of a problem for them. Also, some basketballers too from Brisbane. We'll tell you more about that in a moment. Also coming up, Andrew McLeod on the outer at the Crows as a current day player joins the club's AFLW coaching staff. Nathan Buckley tries to clear the air following what was a brutal trade period for the Maggies. And Cameron Smith makes history at the Masters, but it wasn't enough to take the green jacket.
Howzos, come and see what I've brung.
Could use a role model like that.
Aussie Telly's getting a shot of adrenaline.
We're out of toilet paper.
Only Howzos would take on 2020.
That's trophy worthy.
And Australia's own regular old bogan.
Get him, Daddy.
Will go where even South Park wouldn't dare.
That was sick.
The most bonkers Aussie comedy hour of all time. Tonight, 8:30 on... Mate!
Does your iron supplement cause constipation? Switch to Multifer. This clinically proven oral iron therapy has fewer gastrointestinal side effects than ferrous sulfate iron supplements. Multifer's unique iron polymaltose formulation ensures your body absorbs iron in a controlled manner, only the amount it needs when it's needed. It can be taken anytime, with food and without vitamin C. For an effective dose of iron and less constipation, switch to Multifer. This has been Medifex for Multifer.
Oh, you're just getting mangoes.
Find all your Christmas specials like Australian IGA half-leg ham $9 per kilo and Pepsi 24 by 375ml varieties $14.80. Now at your local IGA.
It's Black November at Nick Scali. We must clear our floor stock and discontinued lines. Lounges reduced, dining tables reduced, dining chairs reduced, and much more. Limited stock, limited time. Black November at all Nick Scali stores. Hurry.
Today we'll be offering... They're gone. What do you mean they're gone? The snacks. They're gone. Missing. Well, they have to be here somewhere. They're not here. They can't just get up and walk away.
All right, only 13 more hours to go. New M&M's pretzel with pretzel inside.
Eclipse Chewy Mint?
Thanks.
You look fresher.
Don't be ridiculous.
Eclipse Chewy Mints.
Let's compare health insurance. You might even save some money. Okay, I'll do it. Take the out of saving. Now's the time to compare, select and save with iSelect.
Next time you're on your bike, remember, there's a lot riding on it.
Life skills and confidence for kids, to me that's big.
A workplace that really cares for its apprentices, to me that's big.
Giving artists a chance to share their stories.
Local jobs for local kids, to me that's big.
Getting good food to where it's needed the most, to me that's big.
The people in South Australia's great outback. What a place to live.
And to have support for things that
make it even better.
To us, that's big too.
Hello again. Well, the COVID-19 outbreak here in Adelaide has thrown preparations for the summer of cricket into chaos. Test captain Tim Payne, Matthew Wade, Cameron Green and Ashton Agar are among those who have been forced to self-isolate back in their home states after playing here in the Sheffield Shield. It's another curveball for Cricket Australia in what's already been the most challenging of years.
Cricket Australia have thought of every contingency. Whatever we have to do, we'll find a way.
The Adelaide Strikers are scheduled to start their Big Bash campaign in Tasmania on December 13. It's now likely they'll have to quarantine for 2 weeks before the tournament. Let's go to footy now, and Andrew McLeod won't be part of the Crows AFLW coaching staff this coming season. The club says he's unable to assist due to other commitments. Veteran forward Tommy Lynch has taken on a new role as an assistant coach, along with retired club champion Scott Thompson. They'll join Maddie Clark, who will steer the ship for a third season. And as the Crows and Port prepare for next month's draft, Collingwood has gone into damage control. Coach Nathan Buckley addressed the club's decision to move on Adam Treloar and Jaden Stevenson.
It's been an interesting few days for the Pies. After heavy scrutiny from supporters, Buckley fronted the media and explained moving out Treloar and Stevenson was to ease salary cap pressure, and also admitted conversations to trade Treloar were kick-started by his wife Kim Revillion's decision to play netball in Queensland next year.
Adam and Kim are entitled to live their lives as they see fit, but it is our responsibility to work out on a professional level how that might affect Adam's ability to do his job, which is to play football and contribute to the club, and we are within our rights to have an assessment of that.
At North, the Roos unveiled Stevenson, and the 21-year-old is still searching for clarity over his discussions with Buckley upon his exit.
I think there's a difference between what you need to work on and being traded, so I didn't have any indication. That's how I felt. Certainly put a little chip on my shoulder and a lot of motivation to get out there and work hard and put my best foot forward here at North, and I'm really looking forward to the time comes when we get to play Collingwood.
Stevenson signed a 5-year deal at the Roos. Andrew Hayes, 7 News.
Let's go to basketball, and the Brisbane Bullets have been forced to quarantine after playing 2 practice matches against the 36ers here in Adelaide. 18-year-old Josh Giddey, who modelled the Sixers' new jersey today, impressed in both those games.
It wasn't nothing too hard to handle. I think I adapted to it pretty quickly. Obviously, with guys like Nathan Sobey and Anthony Drimmick, who've been in the league for so long, they kind of set the pace, and I had to adjust to it.
They did very well, and the Adelaide Lightning continued its strong start to the season, knocking off the Perth Lynx 74-69. Well, locally, National Premier League Soccer has been forced to suspend its final series for at least 2 weeks. Campbelltown and Adelaide City were meant to face off in the prelim on Friday night, but a ban on community sport means the comp's been disrupted for the second time this year due to COVID. And what about this? Aussie Cameron Smith made history at Augusta National, but it wasn't enough to snare the coveted green jacket. He's the first player ever to shoot scores in the 60s in all 4 rounds of the Masters, but he was still 5 shots behind world number 1 Dustin Johnson in a tie for second.
Even without roaring galleries, Masters Sunday is an intimidating beast, capable of bringing the very best to their knees.
Oh, boy.
Defending champion Tiger Woods put 3 balls into Rays Creek at the par 3 12th, finishing with a 10, the worst hole score of his career.
No matter how much I push and ask of this body, it just doesn't work at times.
Cameron Smith's was in perfect working order. The Aussie star slashed overnight leader Dustin Johnson's 5-shot lead to just 2 in the final round.
This could be really good.
That is unbelievable. Nearly popped a kneecap while he was watching that one.
But 2 shots was as close as Smith got. Johnson slammed the door shut on the back 9 with 3 straight birdies.
What an effort.
The world number 1 victorious in a Masters record 20 under par, 5 clear of Smith and Sung Jae Im.
The long-awaited Masters has a long-awaited champion.
I'd take 15 under around here the rest of my career, and I might win a couple.
A prodigious talent with a history of underperforming in majors, Johnson finally has something to go with his 2016 US Open. Nick Markham, 7 News.
Well, Lewis Hamilton has equalled the legendary Michael Schumacher's record with his 7th Formula One world title. He easily won a wet Turkish Grand Prix to clinch the championship with 3 races to spare. And at the MotoGP, Aussie Jack Miller was beaten by the narrowest of margins in Valencia. 7th place, however, was enough for Spaniard Joan Mir to clinch his maiden world title. Jane, that's our sport. Just on Cameron Smith, with the golf there, I think his 4-round total was the 7th best in the history of the Masters ever. And the poor bugger still couldn't win.
Couldn't win.
Like he said, if he takes 15 under over 4 rounds over the coming years, he's going to win a bunch of them.
He'll be a very happy man. Thanks, Soda. Stay with us after the break as we reveal the hidden dangers lurking in buy now, pay later apps.
And after a scorcher yesterday, mild today, then we're slowly warming up this week. All the details in the forecast coming up next. Hurry up.
Oh. Oh, milk. Mmm. Ooh, carrots. Yup.
We grow 'em for Woolies.
Woolies.
Oh, would the guys like some? It's Christmas.
If you insist. Oh, come on, carrots. Now, for presents. And one more for you. Oh. Time to go. Hey, up. Be good. Sharing the spirit of Christmas. Woolworths.
The St John Christmas Home Lottery is back and it's bigger than ever. With 3 homes and over 30,000 prizes, there's a 1 in 5 chance of winning a prize. This week's weekly prize is the big one. Buy your ticket before midnight Sunday to be in the draw to win this $1.3 million beach house on the Esplanade at Semaphore. Imagine waking up to this beautiful view every day. So support St John SA and buy your ticket today.
On the other side of your comfort zone, that's where brilliance lies. And there's only one way to get there. Made Brave, the 4 Series Coupe.
Cookie people, cream people, crumbs people, clean people, twist people, lick people, dunk people, munch people. It's on the play, people. If you twist, lick, dunk, then you're my people. We are Oreo people.
My Macca's app.
At UniSA, our degrees are designed in partnership with industry. So it will feel like you're studying 1 minute and in a career the next. Apply now at UniSA and start your unstoppable career.
It's easy to tame your home loan with our lowest ever fixed rate. Switch to Police Credit Union and lock in a cracking 3-year fixed rate home loan. You could save thousands. Call, visit a branch or find us online today.
She betrayed her best friend.
It doesn't change what I did. I killed Ross.
What she's about to do could ruin his life.
This witness is key. I need to find out who they are.
Does this witness person know that they can tear a family apart?
She can't keep it a secret forever.
The prosecution calls.
Home and Away, next up on 7.
It's exploded in popularity and changed the way many shop. But there's also a dark side to buy now, pay later. For many, the service has become a gateway to debt, with 1 in 5 forced to miss meals to make repayments.
Hairdresser Ashley Arthur Smith avoids credit cards but loves her Afterpay.
It definitely keeps our monthly household budget in check.
Saying buy now, pay later tools help her juggle family finances.
I just find it really easy to manage.
But not all users are coping as well as Ashley. A new report from corporate regulator ASIC shows the industry's rapid growth. In 2018, customers carried out around 17 million buy now, pay later transactions. Just 1 year later, nearly double that. But 1 in 5 users cut back on essentials to make their payments, while 15% took out another loan to cover them.
They have the ability to blow significant holes in people's budgets.
Next October, ASIC will bring in new obligations, saying that if providers want their products to be seen as budgeting tools, not as debt traps, they'd better act like them.
Zip has always conducted ID, credit and banking checks on all our applicants since day one, so we're delivering different outcomes.
For now, ASIC won't crack down any further, saying policy and regulation of the buy now, pay later industry remain a matter for government and ultimately the Parliament.
The government is allowing the industry to self-regulate. The big question is, will it have enough teeth to make a difference?
Gemma Acton, 7 News.
Time now for the forecast, and Amelia, we can expect smooth sailing weather-wise for the next few days.
Jane, we're expecting today's sunshine to roll on after yesterday's gusty change that delivered heat, wind, storms and dust across the state. Jane Hill captured what she described as atrocious conditions at Thistlebed Station near Burra, captured perfectly here. Now, mild conditions. Our top in the city was 21.4 degrees, following a low of 15.1 this morning. Top temperatures were below average statewide, and aside from the odd light shower about the lower southeast coast and thunderstorms about the far northeast corner, it was generally a fine day as a high-pressure system to the south takes the reins. It's kept the cool southwesterly winds coming today, but that'll change as it heads east, sending northerly winds our way midweek before a trough of low pressure rolls through. Interstate tomorrow, a shower or two's on the way for Brisbane. 31, just 21 for Sydney. 20's the forecast top for Melbourne. Back home, and winds could whip up again about our far north, maybe sending a bit of dust over Moomba. 35's the top there. 31 for Roxby Downs and for Port Pirie, up to 29 in Ceduna and Port Pirie, 22 in Port Lincoln and Kingscote, 26 in Whyalla, Clare and Kadina, 27 in Murray Bridge and Renmark, 21 for Victor Harbour and for Mount Gambier, with just a slight chance of a shower about the lower southeast coast. In the city, down to 11 degrees tonight, then a pretty nice days ahead. Sunny, light winds, 25 the forecast top. Not much happening out on metro waters. Variable winds will stay below 10 knots with seas below a metre. Looking ahead, and we'll warm up further on Wednesday, up to 32 degrees. Thursday's looking the same, 27 Friday, up to 33 degrees Saturday, with a shower or two possible late Sunday. But that is a while away, Jane. As we know, a bit can happen between now and then.
Yes, how things can change. Well, that's the news to now. 7 News will keep you up to date on the COVID cluster with a special bulletin tonight at 8:30, where I'll be speaking with the Premier. Until then, from all of us here in the Adelaide newsroom, good night.